a rising actress, a cryptic note, a city full of secrets. When Jean Spangler disappeared in 1949, she left behind more questions than answers. Was she the victim of foul play? Did she stage her own vanishing act? Or did she stumble upon a dangerous truth that silenced her forever? A star on the rise. She was born on September 2, 1923, in Seattle, Washington. In her teens, Jean Spangler moved to Los Angeles with her family. Her striking looks and charm quickly opened doors in Hollywood. She began her career as a dancer at the Earl Carroll Theater and the Florentine Gardens, well-known venues for upcoming talent. In the late 1940s, Jean appeared in small roles in movies. She worked hard to make a name for herself in the entertainment industry. By 1949, she had a few notable film credits, including a role in Young Man with a Horn, starring Kirk Douglas. This role seemed like it could be her big break. Jean's personal life was less glamorous. She had been married to Dexter Benner, with whom she had a daughter named Christine. However, their marriage ended in divorce, leading to a bitter custody battle. Despite these challenges, Jean remained hopeful about her career and future. She continued to audition for roles and attend industry events. Her friends described her as ambitious and outgoing, always looking to make connections that could further her career. Jean's beauty and talent did not go unnoticed, and she began to gain attention from influential figures in Hollywood. As her career started to gain traction, Jean balanced her professional aspirations with her responsibilities as a single mother. She lived in the Park La Brea residential complex, a popular area for young professionals and aspiring actors. Despite the demands of her career and personal life, those who knew her described Jean as dedicated to her daughter and optimistic about her future in Hollywood. The Last Day. On October 7, 1949, Jean Spangler's day began with an early breakfast at a local diner with fellow actress Martha Stevens. During their meal, Jean confided in Martha about a strange, anonymous phone call she had received the night before, which had left her unsettled. Despite this, Jean seemed excited about an upcoming private industry party that weekend, hinting at a potential career breakthrough. As the day progressed, Jean went about her usual routine. Around 5 p.m., she left her Park La Brea apartment, telling her sister-in-law, Sophie, that she was going to meet her ex-husband, Dexter Benner, to discuss child support. She also mentioned a possible film shoot later that evening. Jean's last confirmed sighting occurred at a nearby grocery store around 6 p.m. The store clerk, Dorothy French, remembered her as a regular customer. Jean purchased a few small items and appeared relaxed and in good spirits, showing no outward signs of the unease she had expressed to Martha earlier. After leaving the grocery store, Jean's movements became a mystery. She didn't return home that night, which was unusual for her. Her daughter, Christine, was staying with her grandparents that day, a common arrangement when Jean had work commitments. As the evening progressed and Jean failed to return home, her family's concern grew. The day had started with Jean sharing both personal concerns and professional aspirations, and ended with her unexplained absence. This stark contrast between her ordinary activities and her sudden vanishing would become the first puzzling aspect of a mystery that would baffle many for years to come. Jean's casual demeanor throughout the day, despite the unsettling phone call, suggested nothing overtly unusual to those who saw her. There were no apparent signs of distress or indications that she was planning to disappear. The mix of mundane errands and potential career opportunities made her subsequent vanishing all the more perplexing to investigators and loved ones alike. The Vanishing Act. As Jean Spangler's absence extended into the next day, her family's worry intensified. They reported her missing to the Los Angeles Police Department, triggering an immediate investigation. The police began by interviewing Jean's family and close friends, attempting to piece together her last known movements and activities. Detectives visited Jean's apartment, searching for any clues that might explain her disappearance. They found nothing unusual, no signs of struggle or indications that she had planned to leave for an extended period. Her personal belongings were still in place, including items she would likely take for a planned trip. The investigation quickly expanded beyond Jean's immediate circle. Police interviewed her colleagues in the entertainment industry and her neighbors at Park La Brea. They retraced her steps from the grocery store, hoping to find witnesses who could provide information about her movements after her last confirmed sighting. As the search intensified, a significant lead emerged. A witness came forward claiming to have seen Jean arguing with an unidentified man in a black sedan near Griffith Park on the night of her disappearance. This potential sighting opened new avenues for the investigation and raised questions about Jean's activities after leaving the grocery store. During their inquiry, detectives made another startling discovery. They learned that John had recently taken out a life insurance policy, naming her daughter as the beneficiary. This information added a new layer of complexity to the case, prompting investigators to delve deeper into Jean's financial situation and personal affairs. As news of Jean's disappearance spread, media interest grew rapidly. Local newspapers and radio stations began covering the story, featuring Jean's photo and details of her last known whereabouts. The public was captivated by the mysterious vanishing of the young actress and mother. Search efforts expanded in the days following her disappearance. Police and volunteers combed areas Jean was known to frequent, including various locations in Los Angeles. Despite these efforts, no trace of Jean was found in the initial days of the search. The lack of concrete evidence, combined with the puzzling details of the life insurance policy and the alleged argument near Griffith Park, left investigators grappling with multiple theories. Was Jean's disappearance voluntary, or had she met with foul play? The baffling nature of the case intensified as days passed with no sign of Jean, leaving detectives to work tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the vanished actress. The cryptic note. 2 days after Jean Spangler's disappearance, a groundbreaking discovery was made. A worker in Griffith Park found Jean's purse near the Ferndale entrance. The purse's strap was torn, suggesting a possible struggle. Inside, investigators found a puzzling note that would become central to the case. The note, addressed to Kirk, read, "Can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way while Mother is away." This cryptic message immediately raised more questions than it answered. Who was Kirk? Who was Dr. Scott? What did Jean mean by "it will work best this way"? The mention of Kirk led to immediate speculation about Kirk Douglas, given Jean's recent work on Young Man with a Horn. Douglas was questioned but denied any close relationship with Jean. He provided an alibi for the night of her disappearance, which was verified by investigators. The identity of Dr. Scott became another focus of the investigation. Given the era's strict laws on certain medical procedures, some speculated that this might refer to an abortionist. However, no doctor by that name or with matching initials was linked to Jean or the case. Investigators meticulously examined the note and purse for additional clues. Forensic analysis was conducted, but given the limitations of 1940s technology, it yielded little useful information. The torn strap suggested a possible altercation, but no other evidence of a struggle was found in the area. The discovery of the purse and note in Griffith Park led to an extensive search of the area. Police and volunteers scoured the park, hoping to find additional evidence or, potentially, Jean herself. Despite these efforts, no further clues were uncovered. The cryptic note added a layer of intrigue to the case that captivated the public imagination. It suggested that Jean had planned to meet someone and that she was dealing with a sensitive situation. However, without more context, the note's true meaning remained elusive, becoming one of the most puzzling aspects of Jean Spangler's disappearance. The ex-husband's alibi. As the investigation into Jean Spangler's disappearance progressed, attention turned to her ex-husband, Dexter Benner. The couple's history of marital discord and ongoing custody battle over their daughter, Christine, made Benner a person of interest in the case. Investigators questioned Benner extensively about his whereabouts on the night of October 7, 1949. He claimed he was at home with his new wife, Lynn, and friends. This alibi was corroborated by multiple witnesses who confirmed they had been together that evening. Despite the seemingly solid alibi, detectives delved deeper into Benner's background and his relationship with Jean. They reviewed court records related to their custody dispute, which revealed a history of accusations and counter-accusations. Jean had accused Benner of inadequate child support, while Benner had sought full custody, alleging Jean's lifestyle was unsuitable for raising their daughter. Investigators interviewed Jean's friends and family about Benner's behavior and potential motives. Many described him as controlling and resentful of Jean's independence. However, no one could provide concrete evidence linking him to her disappearance. The police also examined Benner's financial records and recent activities, looking for any suspicious transactions or behavior. They investigated his social circle and business dealings, hoping to uncover any hidden connections or motives that might explain Jean's disappearance. Despite thorough scrutiny, no evidence emerged to contradict Benner's alibi or directly implicate him in Jean's vanishing. The witnesses who confirmed his whereabouts remained consistent in their accounts, and no physical evidence tied him to the scene of Jean's last known location. As the investigation continued, the focus gradually shifted away from Benner. While the bitter custody battle and his history with Jean kept him under a cloud of suspicion, the lack of concrete evidence connecting him to her disappearance meant that investigators had to explore other avenues. Hollywood connections. Jean Spangler's career in Hollywood became a focal point of the investigation. Her role in Young Man with a Horn alongside Kirk Douglas drew particular attention, especially given the mention of Kirk in the note found in her purse. Investigators delved into Jean's professional relationships and social circles within the entertainment industry. They interviewed co-stars, directors, and crew members from her recent projects. Most described Jean as ambitious and friendly, eager to advance her career. Kirk Douglas, a rising star at the time, was questioned about his relationship with Jean. He maintained that he barely knew her beyond their brief professional interaction on set. Douglas provided an alibi for the night of Jean's disappearance, which was verified by investigators. Despite his cooperation, the media continued to speculate about a possible connection. Other Hollywood figures were also scrutinized. Jean had been seen at various industry parties and events, mingling with influential people. Investigators looked into these connections, trying to uncover any leads or potential motives related to her disappearance. The investigation revealed that Jean had been actively pursuing new roles and opportunities in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. She had attended auditions and met with agents, showing no signs of planning to leave her career behind. Hollywood's reaction to Jean's disappearance was a mix of shock and morbid fascination. The case became a topic of conversation on studio lots and at industry gatherings. Some of Jean's colleagues participated in search efforts and offered support to her family. As the investigation progressed, rumors began to circulate about Jean's possible involvement in the darker side of Hollywood. Some speculated about connections to powerful figures or knowledge of industry secrets that might have put her in danger. Despite the intense scrutiny of Jean's Hollywood connections, no clear leads emerged. The glamorous yet murky world of the entertainment industry provided plenty of speculation, but few concrete clues about what had happened to the aspiring actress. The underworld theory. As traditional leads in Jean Spangler's disappearance grew cold, investigators began to explore a more sinister possibility: connections to the criminal underworld. Los Angeles in the late 1940s was rife with organized crime, and the theory that Jean might have become entangled with these elements gained traction. Investigators looked into Jean's social circle, trying to identify any connections to known criminals or suspicious characters. They discovered that she had been seen in the company of individuals with alleged ties to organized crime, though the nature of these relationships remained unclear. One avenue of investigation focused on the possibility that Jean had become involved in illegal activities, possibly against her will. Rumors circulated about her potential connection to an abortion ring, a dangerous and illegal operation often run by criminal organizations. The mention of Dr. Scott in her note fueled this speculation, though no concrete evidence was found to support it. Detectives also considered whether Jean might have witnessed or become privy to information that made her a liability to criminal elements. This theory suggested that her disappearance might have been a deliberate act to silence her. The investigation into underworld connections faced significant challenges. Potential witnesses were often reluctant to speak, fearing retribution. The secretive nature of organized crime made it difficult to verify information or follow leads. Investigators examined Jean's financial records, looking for any unusual transactions or unexplained income that might indicate involvement with criminal activities. They also looked into her recent behavior, searching for signs of fear or anxiety that might suggest she was under threat. The underworld theory intersected with Jean's Hollywood connections, as organized crime had a known presence in the entertainment industry. Investigators explored whether her career aspirations might have led her into dangerous territory. Despite extensive efforts, concrete evidence linking Jean's disappearance to organized crime remained elusive. The theory, while plausible given the era and setting, relied heavily on circumstantial evidence and speculation. The Davy-Ogle connection. The investigation into Jean Spangler's disappearance took an unexpected turn when connections were drawn to another missing person case. David "Little Davy" Ogle, an associate of organized crime figures in Los Angeles, had vanished just 2 days after Jean. This coincidence led investigators to explore potential links between the two cases, adding a new layer of intrigue to the already complex mystery. Ogle was known to have connections to Mickey Cohen, a prominent Los Angeles gangster. At the time of his disappearance, Ogle was facing indictment for conspiracy charges related to Cohen's gambling operations. His vanishing act was initially thought to be related to his criminal activities, possibly fleeing from law enforcement or rival gangsters. The timing of his disappearance so close to Jean's raised intriguing possibilities that couldn't be ignored by investigators. Detectives delved deep into Jean's social circle, meticulously looking for any connections to Ogle or his associates. While no direct link was established, the possibility that Jean and Ogle moved in overlapping social circles couldn't be ruled out. Los Angeles in the late 1940s was a city where the worlds of Hollywood and organized crime often intersected, making such connections plausible. One theory that emerged was that Jean and Ogle might have fled together, either voluntarily or under duress. This led to a widening of the search, with investigators looking for sightings of the pair beyond Los Angeles. Reports of a woman resembling John and a man matching Ogle's description were investigated in various cities across the country, though none were conclusively verified. Another angle explored was whether Jean had unwittingly become entangled in Ogle's affairs. Perhaps she had overheard or been privy to information that made her a liability, leading to both of their disappearances being orchestrated by the same criminal elements. This theory gained traction among some investigators who believed that John's Hollywood connections might have inadvertently brought her into contact with unsavory characters. Despite the intriguing nature of the potential connection, hard evidence linking the two cases remained elusive. No witnesses could place Jean and Ogle together, and no paper trail was found to suggest they had any significant interaction. The lack of concrete evidence frustrated investigators but also fueled public speculation and media interest in the case. The investigation into the Ogle connection highlighted the complexities of pursuing leads related to organized crime. Potential witnesses were often uncooperative, fearing reprisals if they spoke to law enforcement. The code of silence that permeated criminal circles in Los Angeles created significant obstacles for detectives trying to unravel the mystery. As time passed, the trail grew colder. The potential link between Jean Spangler and Davy Ogle remained a tantalizing but unproven theory. It added another layer of mystery to a case already filled with unanswered questions, underscoring the challenges faced by investigators in unraveling the truth behind Jean's disappearance. The Ogle connection also served to keep the case in the public eye. The idea of a possible link between a missing Hollywood starlet and a vanished gangster captured the imagination of the public and the media. It fueled numerous theories and speculations, ranging from romantic entanglements to elaborate criminal conspiracies. Even as other leads in Jean's case grew cold, the Ogle connection continued to intrigue investigators and true crime enthusiasts alike. Cold case developments. In the years following Jean Spangler's disappearance, the case remained open but progress was slow. Despite the initial flurry of activity and media attention, solid leads were scarce. However, periodic developments kept the investigation alive. In the early 1950s, a woman resembling Jean was reportedly seen in El Paso, Texas, accompanied by a man matching David Ogle's description. This sighting reignited interest in the connection between their disappearances, but efforts to confirm the sighting or locate the pair were unsuccessful. Throughout the 1960s, advancements in forensic science offered new possibilities for cold cases. Investigators revisited the physical evidence from John's case, including her purse and the cryptic note. However, the passage of time and the handling of evidence in the initial investigation limited the effectiveness of these new techniques. The 1970s saw a resurgence of interest in unsolved cases from the post-war era. Jean's disappearance was featured in several true crime publications, bringing her story to a new generation. This renewed attention occasionally generated tips, but none led to significant breakthroughs. Throughout these decades, Jean's family, particularly her daughter Christine, continued to seek answers. Their persistent efforts kept the case in the public eye and encouraged law enforcement to continue pursuing leads, however tenuous. Cold case developments. 1990 present. The 1990s brought renewed vigor to the investigation of Jean Spangler's disappearance. Christine, Jean's daughter, now an adult, made public appeals for information about her mother. Her efforts brought fresh media attention and sympathy from the public, reigniting interest in the decades-old mystery. Advancements in DNA technology in the late 1990s and early 2000s offered new possibilities for cold cases. Investigators attempted to apply these techniques to Jean's case, but the lack of preserved physical evidence from 1949 presented significant challenges.